Final story, Colin. Let's go to the matchup Sunday on Fox here at SoFi. What a week for sports in LA. Stafford versus Goff. Are you excited? Remember the big trade, obviously, back in the day? Both teams have benefited. I know the Rams have a Super Bowl, the Lions don't, but this is crazy. We've got a breakdown of the numbers. We'll show you in a minute of the teams from this trade. Here's Stafford talking about how it was win-win for both franchises.
I'm happy to be where I am, and I feel like the Lions obviously have capitalized on a lot of the picks and players that they were able to acquire in that trade. Their franchise is as good as it's been ever, in the last handful of years. So two, successful teams, really good football coaches, good football, programs at the moment. And, it looks like one that, both sides got kind of what they were looking for out of it. I think as time goes on, we'll keep looking back on it saying the same thing because, it seems to work out for both teams.
It's one of the great even trades ever.
Here are the numbers on the screen. That's legitimately crazy.
Now,
and
remember,
it's almost identical stats.
Well, what McVay wanted was a bigger arm. Mm-hmm. He thought Stafford had a bigger arm, was better pre-snap.
Stafford's a better quarterback.
Right.
Goff is very good.
What the Lions needed was draft capital while maintaining competency at quarterback. But they needed, and to the Lions' credit, they hit on all those draft picks.
Yeah.
I mean, they went you look at those draft picks, they kept using and manipulating, and they got Brad Holmes, a great GM. So that is one of those trades where, they wanted a quarterback moving into his athletic prime and draft picks, a notch below Stafford. But McVay was like, okay, I got to a Super Bowl. I don't know if I can win one with Goff. And he was right. Stafford is more elegant, more Tiffany as a product.
Any lean on this game besides I think the total was like 55. There's going to be
I've
points.
told you before, when the number's 4 or 5, take the favorite.
Yeah.
That's, to me, anytime somewhere between 4 and 5.5.
I mean, if you look at the injuries in the secondary for Detroit.
Branch is out now for the year.
Yeah, that's devastating because he's a real good chess piece on the back end. I don't know how they slow down Puka and Adams and the 3 tight ends. I think the Rams, I don't know what their team total is. They're going to score 40 here with ease. Maybe Detroit gets a backdoor cover.
Detroit has extra prep time.
They do. Maybe they get the backdoor cover. I don't totally. Now, then, to be clear, the Rams secondary, they were cooked by Bryce Young. Who's the kid from Washington, the skinny guy?
Mariota, Jaden Daniels.
The cornerback. He had a good season, and then he's starting to get roasted all of a sudden. I have some questions about the Rams secondary, but I do like the Rams here to dispatch the Lions.
By the way, Fox has this game, and Tom Brady, who is on our show tomorrow, will be calling it. So
yeah, Tom brought up the quarterback storyline. I can't believe the narrative around that trade is still being pushed, with interviews featuring Stafford happening now. I'm not just talking about Colin, but across radio and general conversation. The trade happened years ago. It's over. It's done. It doesn't need to be the perpetual talking point whenever these two teams are mentioned. It's a real shame. I wish the Lions were at full strength right now. I wish this felt like a clash between two fully battle-tested squads. The Lions certainly still have something to play for, but you naturally feel more assured and confident in the Rams' position. I just wish this contest felt a bit more balanced at the moment. In previous seasons, the Lions were on that level, but they simply aren't right now, from coaching to roster construction to injury and overall health. Their offense can still pose problems, so it will be intriguing to see how they fare against this Rams defense. However, I'm skeptical about how much resilience the Lions defense has left when facing an elite Rams offense. It's a tough spot. I'm definitely watching this one with a relaxed perspective. I have a general sense of where I think the game might go, but I'm trying not to lock into a firm prediction. I'm more in a wait-and-see mode, letting the game unfold rather than clinging to a strong preconceived belief. Whenever a specific thought about the outcome comes to mind, I just let it go and decide to simply observe. From the Lions' viewpoint, this game carries immense weight. They are in a position to prove whether they are genuine contenders. Can they still make noise? If they make the playoffs, are they a legitimate threat, or have they taken a significant step back from previous years due to coaching, injuries, or other factors? That's just how the season has played out. A strong performance, a win that reminds people of what they've been over the last couple of years, would be a massive boost and a step in the right direction. It would announce that the Lions are as dangerous as any team. The Rams don't need that kind of validation. They've already had their bounce-back performance against a clearly inferior opponent. I don't think there's any extra emotional fuel from playoff revenge, Stafford, Goff, or the trade. That's why I'm looking at this and thinking, who cares about that now? While the historical context is interesting and you can examine the trajectories, claiming it's truly equal is a stretch, especially considering how both teams' seasons have developed. Stafford has had Sean McVay his entire tenure in LA. Goff only had Ben Johnson for a shorter window. Stafford had a longer stretch with lesser offensive weapons, and now he's flush with talent. Honestly, it doesn't matter much to me. You could argue Goff has been better this season. Higher completion percentage, more wins, fewer losses, a higher passer rating, and he beat Stafford in the playoffs. But then, the Rams won the Super Bowl that year, though they had Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham Jr., Von Miller, and Aaron Donald. It's a messy comparison. I don't know, man. I just hope the game is competitive. I guess what it boils down to is this. I'm confident the Rams will be competitive, complete, and in a position to bring their best football. For the Lions, specifically on defense, that's where my doubts lie. And since I also believe this Rams defense is incredibly well coached, I have questions about the Lions' offensive play calling against a disciplined, high-level unit. The rhythm and game planning required are just different when facing a formidable opponent in that regard. Whether it's Dan Campbell or the offensive coordinator calling plays, and I believe Campbell has taken over again, that adds another variable. Maybe he's truly found something, which is why using their past performance is tricky. They've had different play callers throughout the season. Our most recent example was their performance against the Dallas Cowboys, where they undoubtedly played with a lead. But the Cowboys are still the Cowboys, with their own issues. It's a tricky situation to evaluate. That's why it's harder for me to have the same level of confidence in the Lions at this immediate moment as I do in the Rams. You can see the Rams are favored by 5.5 points, which is a substantial margin, no small feat. Clearly, there's far more confidence in the Rams. So, the onus is on the Lions to prove they've figured something out. Yes, they're banged up. Yes, their defense keeps getting injured. But Amon-Ra St. Brown is healthier with extra rest and still played fantastically. Dan Campbell did take over play calling. This offense might be different now. It's up to them to prove they can trust that play calling and game management against another great defense. It's up to the Los Angeles Rams to say, no, not against us. You might have beaten the Cowboys, congratulations, but you're not beating us. This game and the Seahawks game are, to me, the two most losable games left for the Rams. They represent the final hurdles to solidifying home field advantage. I'll go on record saying I believe the Rams need the #1 seed and the first-round bye more than any other team and more than any other quarterback, specifically because of Stafford's age. Ensuring he doesn't have to play an extra game, securing home field advantage with no travel, and avoiding tough weather conditions are paramount. The big problem is this. If the Rams lose this game, and then to Seattle, which is technically possible, we're not talking about losing to bottom feeders here. These are two legitimate teams. That scenario is definitely on the table. Even if they only lose one, specifically to Seattle, suddenly the Seahawks are in a position to win the division. Then, not only do you potentially lose the 1 seed, but you could drop to the 5 seed and be on the road for the playoffs. If they lose the 1 seed, a big reason will likely be Seattle. In that case, they could potentially fall to the 5, 6, or even 7 seed. These aren't my predictions, just how the insane math of the standings could play out. You just don't want that scenario for Stafford. You don't want him in a cold, snowy road game. You don't want them traveling to Green Bay. You want to avoid those things. If they're on the road playing a team like Detroit in a dome, I'd be significantly less concerned. But the elements, the cold, the extra game, that's the one thing, as I've said before, that could hamper this team's ability to win a Super Bowl. We've seen it with Stafford over the last couple of years late in the season. Cold, rainy, snowy conditions. It's not that he can't handle it, but he's not in his prime, and it's just harder for older quarterbacks. Remember that game against the 49ers that was cold and windy? He was awful. It was a bizarrely low-scoring affair. Even this season, in that snowy, rainy mix against Carolina, it wasn't good. I don't think he played badly in that little snow game in Philly, but it wasn't great either, not like what we're seeing from him now. Therefore, finding a way to protect home field advantage and secure the #1 seed goes an incredibly long way. Simply asking a quarterback who's playing great but has plenty of miles on his body to play an extra game, that third playoff contest, It all adds up. So, this game, and obviously the Seahawks game, are from my perspective the two most likely games they could lose. I'm not saying they will lose, but among their remaining schedule, these are clearly the biggest challenges, and this is the first one. It will be interesting to see how it unfolds. Those are my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Detroit Lions? What's your take on still discussing the trade? It was like 5 years ago. How do you feel about the Rams facing the Lions in general? Do you give the Lions a chance? Or do you think the Rams will, as Jack said, hang 40-plus points and make it easy? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, whether you agree or disagree. Let's get some discussions going. Let's have some debates. But ultimately, let's just have fun. Please consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you be part of it. I want to build something we all feel connected to and are excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really helps with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.